Hey guys, what's up? The reason why I'm making this video is because I have something to show you guys that I think you guys are going to really appreciate. I know I did when it came through my front door. This is actually the second time I'm recording this. The first time I recorded it was when it came through the door not 30 minutes before. And I was so freaking excited. I was doing a whole lot of ums and stuff. So I was going to put it up anyway. The problem was the lighting was kind of bad and the footage was just kind of jerky. So I don't think I was giving you guys the full experience of what I'm about to show you. So I'm going to be recording this a second time. Hopefully the lighting will be better and the presentation will be better and you'll see what it is. So let me show you. Okay, you see this? Some of you guys probably already know what this is and are probably going, oh shit, oh shit. Especially those of you who have gone to the SBG store or at least familiar with it and know it's been sold there. For those of you who have no clue what this is or what I'm talking about or why you should even care, this here is the Dien of Marquis. This happens to be one of the swords that was being sold through the SBG store's Project X line. And the Project X swords happen to be the swords that are, shall we say, high-priced. Normally the store caters to people who want to get a good functional sword, whether it's a katana or European or whatever, at a, affordable price, which is why most of the weapons that are on there tend to hover around the $250 to $300 range. And, some of the higher ones tend to be around maybe $400, maybe $500, but you rarely see it go that high. Usually it's around $250, $275, $300, around there. The Project X swords, on the other hand, happen to be made, are basically made for people who have the money and the wherewithal to want something that's a bit higher in quality and higher, and it's going to also be higher in price. And this particular piece right here happened to have gone for $1,500 in the store. Yes, this is a $1,500 freaking sword, which is kind of, let's just put it this way, I don't make that much, so seeing something that's worth that much in my house is kind of nerve-wracking. And by the way, this sword is actually worth more than that. It's just that the store was selling some of these for $1,500, but they actually go for much more. I can't recall offhand how much it really goes for. I'm probably just going to have it on the text, like on the screen right now. It should pop up as a text. This was not the only thing they were selling in the Project X, and the Project X thing has been going on for a long time now. Originally, apparently, it was going for, showing higher priced katana at around that price range. Some doll, usually it was Japanese stuff, but now they're showcasing Chinese stuff as well. And they're made, these are made by master smiths. It's not just simply just straight off right out of the factory production swords. I mean, I think these are still somewhat production swords, but these are much higher end ones, which is the price. Now, as I said before, I've already opened this up. I'm sorry about that, guys. I did record footage earlier, but the footage was kind of eh. So I already know what's inside of here. But opening this up again is going to be like, holy crap. Okay, so but this time it's not going to be nearly as, oh shit, oh my god. Though some of you guys probably wanted to see that anyway. I don't know. Let me know. Anyway, you're probably wondering what that yellow bag is. That's actually the bag that this box was in. I mean, well, this was in a much bigger box, and then I opened up the box, and then there was a smaller box, and I opened up that smaller box, and I saw this big boxed cloth container, and then I opened up the cloth bag, and this was in there. That was needlessly complicated, but that's pretty much how it went. And what I mean by needlessly complicated was my explanation, not the packaging. The packaging was actually pretty smart. But anyway, yeah, this came in a big, I think, silk bag. This feels like silk. And I am pretty sure that's the name of the forge or the name of the company, or maybe I'm pretty sure it's the name of the company because you see that trademark R on there, which is kind of a weird thing to embroider on a bag. Now that I think about it.
What is?
The R on the bag.
What R?
Well, if you look over here, there's a trademark R. See?
They probably just stuck it in their embroidery machine, and it was just all one thing.
Yeah,
they
possibly.
Take that part out.
I guess. Though it's kind of weird, don't you think about it? Like, putting a trademark mark on a
It's
So
like
bad?
scanning something.
I guess. Oh, what?
It's like scanning something and then having it print out in thread.
Yeah. But, you know, it doesn't harm the look. It's just kind of funny to me. Yeah, but it doesn't take away from it. I don't. At least to me, it doesn't. And then you have the box that it came in. This is straight up hardwood. Good stuff. Got 2 latches, obviously, to keep it secure. And of course, you know, just if you're carrying it around somewhere, there you go. As I said, I've already opened this up. Two of the things that were inside of this thing before I open it up, and I'm stretching this out longer probably because I'm evil and stretching this out just to torture you. Came with this little pamphlet here, which is actually a small manual on taking care of the sword. You gotta love the broken English though. Manual of the Knife and Sword Appreciation, Maintenance, and Store. I'm pretty sure you get what it's trying to say. But that's, you know, this is basically the manual telling you how to take care of this thing. How to maintain it and how to store it. I already know how to do that, but it's still, considering it's a higher priced item, and sometimes I guess some people who just simply collect swords and don't know much about them would probably need something like this. So it's a nice touch. The bottom here, you happen to see the name of the company that made it. This is Zhejiang Yongshi, or Zhongshi, sorry, Sword Company Limited. I don't really know much about that company, but I can tell you this much. After seeing this, it seems that they got some high-priced stuff. Really good stuff. It's really good quality. Anyway, I guess I can, later, make a cutaway later on and we can actually examine this. But for now, let's actually look at what you guys really want to see. Oh, and before that, this also came with it, some type of tag, which I'm assuming if you are a collector and you're putting this on a stand or something, or in a glass case, this is something for you to hang off the sword, I guess, and then like a tag for people to look at. I don't know. I am not going to use it, but I'm not going to destroy it either because, well, would you? It's sort of like, you know, if you got a collector's piece video game or something and then you're throwing away the manual, you don't do that. So this is what was actually in the box. Besides the manual that I just showed you and that little tag, which was in here, this is also what came in. And I've left it, I pretty much put it right back the way that it was in there, except, of course, the manual I didn't have neural vision.
Why does it look like a coffin?
That's a good freaking question. Storage boxes tended to be like this. I've seen a lot of storage boxes like that.
And I expect to see, somebody with terrible hair and bad makeup.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, still, I happen to like the amount of care that went into making a box like this.
Yeah, I guess, except they missed part of the ruching.
Yeah. It's a little, yeah.
Well, you can see where they meant to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and it just didn't stick.
Yeah, unfortunately. Granted, if you're going to be paying that much, seeing a little bit of a mess up on the box like that might deter some people. But I also would like to point out that much of the money went into the sword itself. So if the sword isn't crap, then I guess you could, forgive a little bit of that. Though, I don't know. It's your choice. I do like the fact that they put in these white gloves for, for people who are going to examine and touch the blade. I, however, have not used those gloves because I had my own. They're not white gloves. They're not pretty like that. But you know what? They get the job done. Okay, so as you can see here, we got yet another cloth bag to keep the sword in. I guess if you're not going to keep it in the box, then you can keep it in that. I already showed you the white gloves. This was a nice touch, and I would think that if you're going to be spending that much money on a sword, see, yeah, there's a little bit of it coming around there. I'm seeing a little bit of, the styrofoam material. I could fix that, but it's still a little disheartening to see. Box. Wooden box. With, of course, some sword care kit stuff in here. We got... It looks fairly Japanese themed, I guess, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was in Chinese culture. I want to do some research to see if, in traditional Chinese history and maintaining of weaponry, if they had something similar to what the Japanese used. I need to look into that. But this is, where the sword oil is obviously kept. And then we got the powder ball over there. And, of course, underneath that would be the sword rags. I might want to use this kit at least once on this sword just for the authentic feel, I guess. But to be perfectly honest with you, I've mentioned this many times before, but you don't need to get super expensive when treating your sword. Really, all you guys need is one rag for applying oil, one rag for wiping old oil off, mineral oil, which you can get in any drugstore, to coat on there, and that's it. If you want that type of powder type stuff that they have on there, I've actually heard people say that, believe it or not, flour actually works pretty well and does about the same amount of effect. And if you can't find rags, coffee filters will work just as well. But it's still nice having a cleaning kit. Now the sword itself. Let's pull that baby out. Wow. I'm pulling this out again and I'm still amazed at how good this looks. I really am. First thing I want to show off is this handguard. Look at that handguard. The detail in it. It's like, I think it's supposed to be two dragons twining around each other and then meeting each other in the face there. The cloth material. I might take off my gloves just to feel this. My wife felt the handle earlier and she says the wrapping that they used on this was amazing. She says it's definitely grippy. You're not going to lose your grip on this, but it doesn't feel sticky. You know, it's just a good feel. It's just a really good leather-like feel. And I'm thinking this is leather. You know, braided like leather. The fittings are very thick, by the way. Like, look at that end cap there. Look at the pommel. It's very thick. These are like thick brass fittings, and they're not gonna like crack on you or shake. And by the way, everything's tightly constructed. I checked. There's nothing loose on this at all. Sword hanger also shows the same level of quality that you would expect to see with the handguard. Saying that the whole twining dragons thing, all snaking around each other. Down here also, I remember my wife was really impressed with the bottom of the scabbard. She said she really liked how it looked.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And the scabbard itself, the hardwood, well carved. Very well carved and finished. Very smooth finish.
That ridge there,
mm-hmm.
that starts about a third of the way up,
mm-hmm.
it is so finely done that I thought it had cracked at first. And then I looked closer and I'm like, no, it's just meant to be like that.
Like that, yeah.
It's beautifully done.
I would not be... I have to ask Paul, but I am pretty sure that this was definitely handcrafted. The scabbard. I don't think it was just simply used and machined together. There's a level of detail in this that I don't even see in my Hanjin on the wall. And my Hanjin, I happen to really, really love it, but I have to admit, this is a class better. But then again, my Hanjin cost me $300, and this is, well, much higher than that. But you didn't want to just have me show this. You guys want to see the blade. All right, I'll oblige you. Here we go. Show you guys the blade. That's what you want to see.
Do you want me to zoom in?
I'll get closer.
I'll zoom.
Actually, I'm not even going to put this down. Look at that, guys. Look, first I want to show you guys the, my wife is zooming in. I want to show you guys the stamp on the blade.
Hang on, it's focusing. There,
Yeah.
oh, you had it and then you moved.
I am sorry. I'm going to hold it still now. I just wanted to make sure I had it right side up.
There you go. And you
guys
get a little bit of the pattern too.
Yeah. You guys, I told you earlier in that other sword video when I was talking about the katana in the store, I'm a sucker for engravings on a blade. And just having that master stamp on there, yeah. I was like, oh, wow, I actually got a sword with a stamp on it. There's, their master seal of approval, I guess. I like seeing stuff like that. If you can sign, this like, an artist signing off their work. But of course, what really sold me to this, look at the pattern on the blade. I'm going to slide back a little bit. I don't know how much in this lighting you can see of the pattern.
It's subtle, but it's there.
Okay, do you want me to get closer?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a little bit closer, and I'm going to put this lengthwise. Yeah, you guys see that? That water pattern? This is... I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have talked before about how if I'm going to be getting a sword that I'm planning on using for a lot of cutting and fighting, I want a mono steel sword. Because I don't got to worry about, if it gets scratches or if, the patterns on it is messed up. I know people like folded swords and patterned swords. But swords like that, once they start getting scratched up, it messes up the look of the pattern, and then the beauty's kind of gone. With a monosteel sword, you don't care, so I prefer to have that. But I did always want a blade like this, with a pattern, just to know that I got an artsy functional piece. And now I got one, and oh my god, I couldn't have asked for a more beautiful pattern.
You might want to explain that the little flecks and whatnot
are... Oh, yeah, I am sorry.
The oil.
The little bit of flecks you're seeing on there is the oil, the excess oil that was on the blade, and a little bit of debris that was in the scabbard. I have not bothered to wipe this blade yet. I literally, like I said, when this first came to the door, 30 minutes later, I pulled out the camera, opened up the box, and took this out, and I was just like, oh my god. And then I just put it right back in the scabbard, put it back in the box, and just like, whoa, I was just blown away. Now that I'm a little bit more down to earth, not by much, I can, really take a look at it.
No, really not by much.
And I'm still enamored with this. Some things I can point out right off the bat, besides, of course, the fact that this is obviously, a pattern wielded, and you can see the water patterns on here in the steel, that grain material in the steel. Another thing that immediately captured me was the point. And I'm hoping that Jit can get a good look at it. It's like a chisel point. I mean, this is the type of tip that I...
Hold it still.
I'm holding it still.
No, you weren't.
I'm not doing it now.
Okay.
Do you want me to show, the actual point, or is this good enough?
Hang on. I'm trying to get it to focus.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky.
Well, there you can see some of the water pattern and the reflection from my computer.
Mm-hmm. But I also wanted to show, the shape of the point.
Okay, now just rotate it.
This way?
Just keep rotating it while you're talking.
Yeah. That's a chisel point. And I love that. I mean, this was made for thrusting. This is going to penetrate flesh easily. Maybe armor? I mean, this is a very stiff sword, but I don't, swords were made to cut through flesh, not armor. But still, look at that. Just wow.
No, it's fuzzy.
And it's very finely ground. Very finely ground.
Hold it still. Would you focus already, you stupid thing?
Got it yet? Or is it still focusing?
There we go.
Mm-hmm. This is also really freaking sharp. I could tell just from the feel of it against my finger in my glove. I am not drawing this against my finger. I mean, this is very finely ground, very sharp. But another thing I really like about this, I'm definitely wiping this down after I'm done. Another thing I can tell you about it is I love the fact that it's clam shaped. I don't know how much you can tell from me going to this angle here, but this is not a flat, there's not a flat slope to the edge like you normally would see on swords, especially production swords. Especially what I would call a four-sided sword that has more of a diamond blade geometry.
No, lift it.
This way?
No, too much.
That way. There?
Almost. Down just a touch on the front. Up just a touch. Perfect.
Yeah, you see how it looks clam-shaped there? Yeah, that's actually what you want to see in a well-made Dian. They're not, I mean, these days, swords, especially your common straight swords, are made with that diamond shape geometry and not a clam shape, which is more the way these things were made, especially the higher end Dian back in antiquity.
There we go.
You want that clam shape because that actually helps to preserve the edge better.
You're moving.
When you have that more convex edge.
Moving.
Sorry. When you have that more convex edge rather than just that straight slope to the edge. Helps to preserve it, and it's more, for those who care about such things, it's more traditional. You will also notice that this is what some would consider a six-sided Dian, not the standard four-sided that you normally would see. And what I mean by four-sided is, again, that whole diamond-shaped geometry. If you notice on one side of the blade, you got that slope to the middle, and then the other slope in the other direction to the other edge. And then you flip it over, and that makes four sides. This one has six. You got the slope toward the middle. Then you have that kind of curved part of the middle, which is the second side, and then you got the next edge sloping back to the other way, which is the third side. You flip it over in a double, so it's a 6-sided dian, which does add more heft to the blade. That's more material. If this was a straight up diamond one, the blade would actually be a little bit lighter. But because this is a 6-sided one, that's more steel, so there's more mass, and thus there's a bit more weight. I can assure you though that despite the extra weight, like I said, with the extra mass in there, this is still very well balanced. And I'm able to use my techniques very easily. I don't want to, like, some of the techniques I gotta do the snapping, and I really don't want to mess up. I'm just like, I'm afraid to do anything with this sword because it's like, the wrapping's so good, I don't want to accidentally mess it up. But it is very, very tightly wrapped, so I shouldn't worry about that. But I'm still like, it's my baby, you know? Man, this thing has a bit of heft, though. This doesn't feel like a sharpened crowbar, thank gods. You know, and the balance point's right where you see the center of that little vortex shape I'm doing, which is what you normally do with a sword. But, you know, this is definitely a more substantive dian than I've used before. And I've used decent weighted dian. Like my favorite, the Hanjian over there, is over 2 pounds. It's 2 pounds, 6 ounces. This, I am pretty sure, weighs a bit more. What's that beep?
My phone.
Okay. I'm pretty sure this one weighs a lot more. One thing I find a little amusing is the fact that, obviously, this was made to be a two-handed dian. Look at the length of the handle. But the blade is shorter, I am pretty sure it's shorter, than a Hanjian. My Hanjian has a blade of 32 inches. I forgot how much that is in centimeters. I need to put that on the screen to look it up. And here, okay, this one is about 29 inches coming from the guard. That's a little shorter than I'm used to. I like blades at least 30, but I can live with 29, especially a sword like this. You think I'm going to be complaining? It's still good. I still like it. For those purists, I don't really touch the ground putting it down here. But definitely, if I'm going to be using this in 2, you really don't feel it. So, I mean, this was obviously, I think this was really made for a two-handed. And to be honest, katana users are used to a length like this. So, you know, if this for 2 hands is fine. Chinese swords, I do notice, however, a lot of their two-handed ones tend to be pretty long. Like, if you get, like, a contemporary two-handed dian, it would be somewhere around, like, 34 to 36 inches long. 32, in fact, many people would be looking at it, that is definitely a two-handed length. Why the hell are you using that one-handed? But I'm used to that. This, however, is still fine. But it's just that if you're going to be using this with one hand, if you are one of the few people out there that got one of these, because I think there were only like, I think there were only 5 or 8 of these that were sold in the store, and that's it. They're gone. That's it. The few who will probably get their hands on this, I have to tell you, if you don't have the strength to wield, if you are not used to using swords, wielding this one-handed is probably going to be an issue for you. I'm used to these weights. This is not bad at all, but this is definitely a little bit heavier than your standard dian. Definitely. Some people, this is that combat weight. I guess so, but it doesn't feel like a crowbar like a lot of those Longchuan knockoffs tend to be. Oh man, I don't even want to put this thing down. I want to ask Paul if I can do a review of this. Simply so I could, like, you know, show you guys the sharpness and all that type of good stuff. Like, really show you the intimate details of this thing. I might even want to do a test cutting with it. Not all that much. I really don't want to damage this thing. I'm probably just going to go through standard targets. But I can tell already, just looking at this, this is going to slice through tatami, no problem. This is going to cut through, you know, water bottles ain't going to be shit. I don't even want to use a water bottle with this. That's beneath this sword. This thing needs, like, a decent... This thing needs a decent target, definitely. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, because I certainly enjoyed showing it to you guys. This is quite possibly the nicest weapon I have ever held. Me, personally. I have a funny feeling if I ever bumped into Skull, and like so has Albion, I'd be like, oh my god. But this is just wow. Just wow. Whoo boy. Really, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. I feel privileged that I'm holding this piece. Man, this is something else. This is amazing. This is a really good piece. I think I kind of understand how Skull felt when he held his Albion. Because this is the nicest piece I have ever had in my hands. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I am now going to turn off the camera and I'm going to wipe down the blade. Get this junk off of it. Though it was very nicely oiled when it came in anyway, but I just want to get all this debris and hair and stuff off before putting it back in. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm sorry. This video's gone on long enough, and I'm really sorry about that, guys. But one thing I also had to say, which I was really impressed by, is the fit in here. I know with my Hanjian, which was to be expected with the production ones, my Hanjian, especially the second one I had gotten, even though the sword fits it better, in general, Hanjian, you cannot hold the swords upside down. The blades are just going to fall right out. In fact, I have to modify mine to keep the blade from easily falling out. This one, right out the box. Right out the box. Snug fit. Very snug fit. I just slide that back in. It's not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. See? Very... There's a little bit of rattle if I go up and down, but side to side, no rattle. I just happen to like the fact that it's every piece. I could tell there was a whole lot of attention to detail put into this and a lot of care, making sure that this would be one good functioning art piece. And it feels substantive, and it feels like a lot of care went into it. This is definitely a quality weapon. And it's really cool to be able to actually be one of the few people that has one. Because, yeah, I don't think they're making any more, unfortunately. And if they are making any more, it's certainly not going to be at the store, and it's going to be a lot more than what the store was pricing it for. $1,500 is a lot. I definitely understand that. It was definitely out of my price range. But it's substantially worth more than that. So for those who actually were able to get their hands on one of these, man, you guys lucked out. If you weren't, I don't think they're going to be making any more of these. And and the ones that you can get right now are going to be substantially a lot more. I'm sorry about that. The Dao, same thing. And I think the Dao cost more. And there was a lot. The detail that you see in this, I think there was a lot more detail put into the doll, particularly the fittings. It was insane. I'll probably put pictures up of it. The Project X stuff, for anybody who cares, every year they do something. That's it for this year. Next year, probably around April-ish, they're probably going to do something like this again. I have no clue what they're going to do. But every year is a surprise. It's always something amazing. I think last year was some type of really cool freaking katana. Actually, last year they had one of these too, if I remember correctly. But there was only like 5 made, and that was it. And the only reason why this came back this year is because so many people were crying for it. But I think that's it now. I think that's it. They're done. So, yeah, that's why I'm so blown away that I'm holding this in my hands right now. I'm repeating myself over and over again. I'm sorry if you guys feel this video sucks, because I'm just standing here gushing over this weapon, but those of you who collect swords, you understand, right? At least I hope you do. Yeah. I'm gonna be done with this. Putting this away. Gonna wipe down the blade, treat it nicely, and all that type of stuff. Guys, let me know what you think. I will probably do a better review of this later, because right now this is more like a first impressions, like a type of video, like, just gushing over it. So, yeah. Catch you guys later. Behold, Scrumpy, Arthur Stark. Scrumpy
of the Scrumps of the ancient house of Mercia. He is powerful, quick, and sprightly. He is here, he is there, he is everywhere, and he's dumber than a bag of hammers. This is the Great One, the Right Honorable Sir Keon J. Longtail the Third. He rules wisely, judges all who look upon him, and usually has no freaking clue where his next meal is coming from. Lovable in his own way, even though he is probably still judging you as he's purring at you. Sir Keon sees you in your sleep. Sir Keon sees you in your nightmares.